G'day there everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Now this is just a follow-up to a video that I published recently about vibe coding a SharePoint web part. Now that was a fairly high level video on how to get started and what I was doing and thinking about in that space. So I thought I'd take this to a little bit of a next level and see how I could vibe code a SharePoint news web part and have some functionality in there. So I thought I'd step through this process and do a little bit of vibe coding live in this video and just see what my process is at the moment so that you can get an understanding of the potential and what can actually be done in this new world that we find ourselves in. So we can see on the screen here that I'm in the process of building a SharePoint news web part. So what I've got at the moment is this is just at the site collection level. Obviously we'd expand this and there's lots of different ways to the directions that this could go. But it's a web part that shows news articles that have been published from this site. I've got a little badge there that shows us if a news article has been marked as important. And the way that we're doing that is simply by having a column in a SharePoint list that gives us a yes or no. And I'll just jump into the SharePoint site and we can have a look. So if I go to pages and I jump down here, I've got my news and I've just got a column here and it's just a list column that's got a yes or no. Is it important? Yes or no. Now, if it's yes, then we're displaying this little important badge. Now, I'm just adding some functionality here just to give this a test. I've got a little toggle here. I've got important news and I've got all news just to give, it's just me testing things out really. Now, I've also got a panel when I click the edit web part section here. I've got a different option here for layout and list. Now, literally this has taken, and I've been doing this for maybe 90 minutes, okay? And I can now flick between and choose different layout options between a card and a list. Now, what I'm gonna do in this video is, I haven't done this yet, is rather than a drop-down list, option here, I want to display these as little cards in the panel. So I'm going to bring across Cursor. Now, what I'm going to do on the right-hand side here, now we can see that with our model that we're using inside of Cursor is set to auto. Now, I'm just going to flick this off, but you can see that this is using Claude for Sonnet as the LLM model, but we can see that we've got Gemini, we've got 3.5 Sonnet, we've got 03 model, 4.1 and 4.0. But what I've found is Claude for Sonnet is extremely good at coding. All right, so I'm going to just keep that at auto. Now, let's see if we can build out this properties pane. So I'm going to say in the properties pane, we have the option to select a layout style. This is at the moment a drop down list. Can we change that? Change that to display as cards with an icon representing the layout, and when a user selects that layout card, it changes the layout. And let's see what happens. All right, so we're using Claude 4 as we saw, and I'm just explaining, and this is literally me explaining to my developer what I want to happen, all right? And you can see here, it's giving me how to implement this, the example steps, and now it's asking me the question, would you like me to scaffold the code for this custom property pane? Yes, I would, thanks. And off we go. So my dev is now off and running, building out this, and you can see that on the right-hand side in this panel, we're going to get a visual representation of the code that is actually being written, all right? So this may take a little bit. So with some fancy video editing, we are going to come back or fast forward this, I haven't decided yet, and have a look at, well, you can see there that it's actually building out now. But let's have a look and see how long this takes and then have a look at what the result is. All right, so we've now got a custom layout picker. In here, let's say, would you like me to finish the integration and wiring for you? Yes, I would love you to finish that, please. So let's just finish this off. Okay, let's now finish coding. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go Control C because it's asked me to rebuild this. So what I'm going to do is run this build. I'll stop serving it. I'll run the build and then I'll serve this up again. And let's see what the result is, shall we? Let's just close this down and we'll jump back into Cursor. That's now built, let's now serve, and let's see what we get. And we'll jump in and open our site. And that the workbench is now loading, which is a good start. Then let's add the web part. And we've got important news and we've got all news, which is good. Now let's have a look at our properties pane. And we can see when I edit that we're not getting anything. All right, so I'm just going to refresh. And this is the beauty of doing this live is that we don't have that, right? So what we're going to do, let's just go to edit. Let's just try again. No settings available, or the web property pane was deleted. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this and I'm going to jump back into Cursor and say when I click, when I open the properties pane, now I get this. Can you please fix? And again, so what we're doing here is we're actually using AI as our partner here. So we're not doing any, one-shot prompting or all that sort of stuff. We're actually using this as a collaborative in this way, a development partner. Or assistant here. So it's giving them, so would you like me to implement the wrapper function approach or revert to the drop down? Let's have a look. Let's try the wrapper approach and see what we get. All right, so that's now been done. Let's just jump back before we actually go and rebuild. I just want to see if we just hit the refresh button, and I'm just going to hit the pencil and we're still not seeing anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to, again, this is me not being a coder, not being a developer, but I don't even know if this build is required, but I'm going to give it a go anyway because that's what it's telling me to do. So I'm going to rebuild and then I will serve and then we'll see what happens. All right, so let's go and do our gulp serve. Let's pop that and we're going to jump over here That's now loaded. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open and add my web part. And we've still got our functionality here, which is good. Let's edit. And we still have nothing. All right. So I'm just going to refresh, clear the cache, hit the pencil, and we're still not seeing anything, are we? So let's, what was that? That was something. Let's just edit the properties here. All right, so dashboard caching, property pane has been deleted. All right, so let's jump back into Cursor. Still getting this. What can we do to fix? And let's see what we come back with, shall we? All right, so let's look at doing, I don't want to go back. I want to continue on. So I don't want to go and revert back to a drop down. I want to take this approach. So if we want to continue with a custom field, let's go with the robust custom field option, please. All right, so it's giving me a step-by-step. We're creating a wrapper, the official factory, storing the reference, and it's off and running and implementing. So again, we can see the code being written. It's looking at the layout picker.ts. It's picked up a linter error. It's going to update the code for me, removing that import. So a lot of this doesn't, for me, if you're a developer watching this, a lot of this will probably make sense to you, but a lot of this doesn't make sense to me. And this is the, I guess, the power of vibe coding, is that we don't necessarily, now obviously it does help, but we don't necessarily need to know every single error and thing that's happening here. We just, I mean, all I'm focused on is the outcome of this. Does it do what I want it to do? So at the moment, it does, but we're trying to enhance what we're doing here. So that's what we're displaying or walking through in this video. And it's good that, you know, these type of things are happening so that you can get, I guess, get an understanding of what I'm doing and the process that we can do, and using AI in a different way and thinking about how we implement or augment our processes in a different way. And this is one of those ways, all right? So again, it's still updating some code. Now it's updating the hello world web part. I know it's not named differently and all of that sort of stuff. I get it. It's not a hello world, but it's kind of expanding, and me sort of just having a bit of a play around here, and see what we can actually build in this way. So we're still generating. So it's doing a lot of work behind the scenes here, right? So, all right, so now it's correctly rebuild and open your property pane. Let's just see if I actually need to do that. So I'm just going to refresh, and let's just open the property pane and see. All right, so that's nothing's happening there. So let's actually Control C, let's actually run the build. Now I'm just going to close this down. I'm going to jump back into Cursor. We'll wait for that to build, and then we'll gulp her up again and serve her up again. All right, so just about done. And let's serve. Let's open my browser, and fingers crossed we might get there. All right, Let's go. We've still got functionality, which is good. Edit, and we still have nothing. All right. Let's try a different approach. Okay, there is still nothing appearing in the properties pane. Can we present the layout options in a more visual, let's try a different approach, visual way rather than a simple drop down? So let's just ask the question first. Okay, and let's see what we come back with. If you want a more visual option without a custom field, choice, yeah, maybe. Okay, so let's go choice. Let's go the choice with icons. That sounds okay. So let's go with the choice with icons option, please. And let's see what that looks like. All right. So again, just to reiterate, we're going backwards and forwards here. All right. So we're treating this like our thinking partner or our developer that we would have a conversation with, rather than trying to, I guess, going in that search type of mentality. We're using this as a collaborative partner. And it's, once you start to do this a lot, then the way that you converse is going to improve, obviously. All right. Now, okay, so let's see. That looks like it's been done. And let me just refresh. I'll just see if it works again. Again, I'm not 100%, and maybe somebody in the comments can tell me if I actually need to do this rebuild. But what I might do is I might just remove this. Let's just go add this again or edit the properties, but there is no, okay? So there's nothing there. So what we might do, let's just give this a go. Control C, and we'll go run build. And then we'll serve it up again. All right, so we're just about done. And I'm sure developers are going to be watching this and thinking, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And granted, I don't. I know a little bit and enough to be a little bit dangerous. So here we go. Let's add this, fingers crossed, and let's edit, and we still get nothing. All right. Let's just refresh. Let's just have a look at the console, and we'll also have a look here. Okay. I'm going to grab this error. I'm going to jump back into Cursor, and I'm going to add, all I'm going to do is give this, all right? So that's the error that I'm getting. Let's see if we can fix that. All right, so it's searching, thinking. Okay, so we don't need that as a custom property. How to fix yes, I do, but there is still nothing displaying. Let's say displaying in the properties pane. Let's just refresh. Just preview. All right, so the functionality is still working. Let's go back to edit. Let's look at the properties, and I'm still getting this. All right, so let's just jump back into Cursor. All right. All right, let's build this up, okay? Okay, so let's go, okay, let's take the approach of building incrementally, please. Let's get a minimal properties pane working first. Working forced, interesting, but it's AI. It's going to recognize that for me. All right. So we're going, generating, thinking. Now this has obviously taken a lot longer than I had anticipated, but it's good that it is. We're going through this process now. If I knew what I was doing, then I could probably. I do know what I'm doing. Well, kind of. But from a code perspective, if I knew exactly what all of this meant, then it would probably mean I could use this type of process a little bit better. But considering that I've been out of the coding game for a while, then I'm just relying on, I guess, natural language here and just trying to explain to, in this case, Cursor, what I want it to do. All right. So we might take the approach here of just building an MVP, minimal viable properties pane thing first. Let's just get back to looking at getting that working so that we've got that. All right. Okay, so it's telling me that I've now got a minimal working copy, but let's see if we're actually accurate here, which I do. And look at that. That has now got me a layout, which is perfect. Now let's see if this works. Now I'm happy with that. And it actually works, right? That is the outcome that I'm looking for, right? So you can see now it's gone from a drop-down list to a now visual layout option for me. All right. I've got a description field here, so I would obviously tidy this up, and there could be some more functionality that we add to this properties pane. But you can see there, even in how long have we been recording? In well, from end to end, it's been 25 minutes, but I've now got that functionality working the way I want. Now, as I was prompting, I could have done this probably a lot better and explained myself a lot better. And what I'm starting to do is actually use voice as well, right? So can we now please add to the properties pane just an option that at the bottom to say who this web part was developed by. So this web part was developed by Daniel Anderson, Microsoft 365 consultant and Microsoft MVP, and also add my email address, which is daniel@danielanderson.com.au. Now you can see that has actually gone over here. So it hasn't done, but what I've done is I've used my voice and I've copied, and I'm going to copy and paste that, and I'm going to now paste that into Cursor, and we're now going to add something else. So with what I've done there with Whisperflow, we could use Windows H as well, right? So if you press Windows H, that gives us our voice recording, right? So you can see that is now typing inside of the chat box here. All right. So if I stop that, and then now what you could do instead of typing, you could actually be sitting here and just using your voice. All right. So if we click this, Now can we please add to the properties pane, maybe an option to look at changing the title of the web part and displaying a different title. So you can see there that just by me talking, then that has added that there, and I could send that and then make that change as well. All right, so let's have a look. Now I've added that. Now let's jump back and I'll just see if this has been added automatically for me. So I'm just going to refresh and I'll hit the properties pane, and there you go. All right, so you can see there that has been added to that properties pane. My functionality still works and we're good to go. All right, now I'm going to leave it there, but that was 30 minutes of live vibe coding a SharePoint web part. This is still obviously in its infancy. It's not perfect. It still says hello world and all that type of stuff, but it's more of me showing you and helping you think about the use of AI in general in different ways to help you in whatever role that you find yourself in. So I hope that brings you some value. Thanks again for watching, and let me know how you go.